Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 23 of season 4 of Arrow, Schism, our big season 4 finale. And it's definitely a pretty satisfying finale for the show for this season. In fact, I think I actually enjoyed it more than I did the season finale for The Flash. But in all fairness, when I watched the season finale with The Flash, I made the mistake of doing so while I was tired, so I was a little distracted, and so that probably took away from it. But for me, this was still a pretty nice finale. Everybody kind of had their little moments to shine. For example, Curtis, he kind of gives that speech where he talks about how Green Arrow, he and his boyfriend were ready to get out of Star City, and Green Arrow kind of made that speech and gave him hope. And he kind of mentions the undertaking, the siege, the outbreak. I guess it would make sense that some sort of collective name would eventually kind of latch on to those events in the popular consciousness of the city. And that plays a big part in helping inspire Oliver and everybody else to Oliver to go out there and do what he does this episode. And obviously, they're setting things up for Curtis to be a reoccurring character in season 5. In fact, they released a season 5 description, and yeah, he's apparently going to be a main character in season 5, which is fine with. I'm fine with. Let's see what else. We also get to see some more nice moments between Diggle and Lila, and with her being the head of Argus now, which for some reason is based in Star City rather than Washington D.C. Yeah, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? But okay, whatever. We get to see them, having some nice husband and wife moments. We actually got to hear their daughter speak for the first time, which was cool. She's old enough to the point where she would probably be able to say some very simple things, if I remember correctly. And then we also get the bit where Diggle kind of comes clean with her about killing his brother, and Lila's cool with it. She understands, but Diggle is not cool with it, and I understand the situation. It's one where he really failed to live up, and not just failed, in a way betrayed everything that he thought about the man that he was. He has that. That really nice scene between him and Oliver, where Oliver said when he's ready to leave, and Oliver says to him, like, "Man, I don't know how you're gonna do. I'm gonna do this without you. You've been the one that kind of keeping me steady when I've been going off the rails." And Diggle says, "Well, I don't know if you've noticed lately, but recently it's kind of been you doing that for me." And yeah, given that he went out and tried to murder Rouvet, that kind of really does ring true. Um, oh yeah, we kind of have to talk about the island. Well, things played out pretty much exactly the way I figured they would. Ryder went down a little easily, but he still got to have that cool kind of almost Darth Vader-ish moment. Well, actually, it kind of reminds me a little bit more of Starkiller, where he kind of uses his magic to blow up the plane. But again, he does go down a little easily, and then I did like that it was ultimately Oliver that had to kill Tiana because she was begging him to. I mean, talk about the ultimate way to just drive another knife into poor Oliver's gut. And then we also got to see Robert and Shadow's graves, and Tiana is buried right next to them. I don't know. I guess was there a grave for Yao Fei? I don't think there was. Probably should have been, but okay. I don't remember exactly the circumstances off the top of my head in which he died, so we'll let that go. And what I really like about when they wrapped all of that up is it actually explains kind of a little mystery, but you have to be paying attention. Now, before we get to that, though, Amanda Waller turns back up, and okay, it was nice to see her character one last time, especially since she got basically killed off because of studio politics. Because I don't want people to be confused about there being an Amanda Waller on TV and Amanda Waller in the movies, which I mean I understand, but I still think it's kind of dumb. But anyway, she kind of talks about how sometimes you're going to have to kill, and that plays into what the big thing with this episode is, yeah, sometimes if you're going to do things like this, you're going to have some darkness in you. You can't do things like this. It's sort of like, in a way, like being a police officer, where you can't go out there and constantly be exposed to these really dark and terrible things and not have that leave a mark on you. But there's a difference between having it be a part of you, having it leave a mark on you, and letting that control you. And that was kind of what Oliver had really been doing for a long time, was in the early seasons, particularly season 1, was letting that darkness control him. And him kind of stepping away from that so that he could actually become something else. The Green Arrow was, that was his big journey. But anyway, at the end of this episode, we see that Argus takes control of the idol. But if you pay attention, one of the agents that helps carry it away, you kind of see a little name badge on her. And I noticed that, and I tried to read it, but it went by a little too quickly. So I was wondering, like, well, I wonder if that little name badge is a nod to somebody from the comics, because it was very prominently displayed, albeit very briefly. And people with a little sharper eyes than I noted, that the name was Fayed. And Nina Fayed is one of the Hive agents that Damien Dark killed because he got pissed off at her earlier in this season. So that explains it. Hive had infiltrated Argus, and Fayed got the idol from Argus and gave it to Damien Dark. Now, this is kind of interesting because this question, well, this kind of factors into what we've been seeing here, is that for all his skill with it, Damien Dark is apparently still pretty new at having at least this particular magical item. So, again, as powerful as he is, magic is still apparently kind of, or using it like that is still kind of a new thing for him, which seems a little bit weird. But I do kind of like how, and this is one thing that I've been talking about all season, is that when things kind of reverse fortune and Damien Dark is not able to use his magic, he just basically kind of runs off. And there's more than once where I've said, like, hey, wait a minute, isn't this guy a former member of the League of Assassins? Why doesn't he just use his League of Assassins skills in this situation? Instead, he always uses his magic. And this episode, of course, ends with Damien Dark saying, like, hey, Oliver, did you forget I'm a former member of the League of Assassins? And I'm just going to kill you with my bare hands. But I got some thinking about it, and, well, it's kind of like, well, let's say you have two cars. One of them is like a Mercury Mystique or something, and the other's a Ferrari. Well, if you want to get somewhere in style, you're probably not going to go back. You're probably going to stick with the Ferrari whenever you can. Going back to the old Mercury Mystique, yeah, not so great. So, yeah, having badass assassin skills and all, but if you could just kill people with magic just by pointing at them, and you can kill them on the other side of the planet, well, why are you going to bother with that? So I think that just Dark was so locked into magic mode that it took something really big, like basically seeing like, oh, there's no way in hell my magic is going to help me in this situation, to really get him to shift gears back into League of Assassins mode. It's also a little disappointing Oliver didn't point out, it's like, dude, do you have any idea how many people from the League of Assassins I've beat, like, that I've kicked their asses? I killed the last Ra's al Ghul. I was Ra's al Ghul. Oh yeah, the other guy that was Ra's al Ghul, I beat him too. I beat Ra's al Ghul's daughter. The League of Assassins guys are really nothing to me. Now, in all fairness, though, Dark has had a very long time to practice those skills, and while standard League of Assassins guys are not much of a big deal for Oliver, including Nissa, the last Ra's al Ghul did prove to be a pretty significant obstacle, but again, Oliver beat that guy. Yeah, Damien Dark definitely got a little overconfident there. And I love it, just sort of was like, when the people are coming in to kind of help Oliver deal with them. It was kind of cool that he used the power to what he thought would scare the people off. They stood up with him. Then Dark calls in his buddies from Hive, who apparently left their guns somewhere. If they just started opening fire on that crowd, I have a feeling things would have gone very differently. Or if he just said like, "Hey, 20 minions with guns, shoot this guy." Um, yeah, that would have been it for Oliver. But okay, it's TV. Sometimes you have to have these moments like this, even if the logic is at times rather iffy. I mean, I've repeatedly pointed out that a lot of the problems that happens on shows like this and The Flash would probably have not escalated to the point where they are, because the cops probably would have just put some snipers on the roof of the nearby building and blown the bad guy's head off. But okay, whatever. It makes for good TV. And Oliver does win his fight with Damien Dark. I love how Dark actually took his bow away, was going around and like just smacking random civilians in the head with Green Arrow's bow. And it only comes to the moment where Damien Dark says to him, "Well, okay, you won the fight, but you're not gonna kill me." And then Oliver kills him with the arrow, the same way Dark killed Laurel, and the same way that Lonnie Machin killed Rouvet. And kind of Dark even makes the point of like, you couldn't even bring yourself to kill Slade Wilson. He killed your mother. You're not going to kill me. And Oliver points out, it's like, look, with Slade Wilson, I had a choice. With you, I don't. And with characters saying, I don't have a choice about things, and people in real life too, is one of those things that kind of annoys me a lot. Because I don't really believe in the idea that you have no choice. You always have a choice. It's just a case of you don't always have a choice that you like. I mean, yes, Oliver could choose not to kill Damien Dark, but obviously if he does that, things are really bad stuff is going to happen. So he makes the best choice he can under those circumstances, which is to kill him. And we have seen that Oliver, if he has no other choice, after season 1, will kill somebody. Again, if every other option on the table, if killing somebody is the least terrible choice. I mean, he killed the original Count Vertigo to save Felicity because there was no other way in that circumstance that he was going to be able to get away with that. That he could deal with that. So again, it's not really about not having a choice. It's you have a choice. You always have a choice, but at least in the CW verse, sometimes that killing somebody is going to be the least terrible of those choices. Speaking of Felicity, we got to see some more nice stuff with her and her mom, and I really loved Damien Dark's just reaction. It's like, "Oh, I get to threaten your mom? Oh, this is going to be so easy." But in a way, Felicity herself, like Oliver, inspires hope in someone, and she does it in Cooper. Cooper had a hair in my mouth. Yuck. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure it was mine. Just gonna leave it at that, okay? Or wait, does that make it worse? We're just gonna not expand on that line of thought anymore, I think. Okay, I need a second here to kind of fight down a burst of the giggles. We're just okay. And while she does succeed in, reminding Cooper, like, hey, you were somebody who wanted to change the world. You wanted to do things that would make the world better. And ultimately, she does convince him to sort of go against what Dark had said, even though he knows if he does this, he's going to die in terrible pain. And he does, albeit terrible pain that seems to last about 3 seconds. So, yeah, that seems like a really questionable threat. But okay, you kind of had to wrap that up. Kind of a little disappointed that Cooper wouldn't be returning as a potential nemesis for Felicity. I kind of like the idea of her having her own little rogues gallery, which I guess now has pretty much been busted down to Bug-Eyed Bandit now that she and her father are not exactly at odds anymore. But okay, whatever. but still, her having that moment with Cooper where she genuinely asks, gets his help to sort of help save the world. I mean, that was a nice moment for Felicity. Um, Nothing really hugely huge to say about Thea. I mean, she gets really freaked out about the fact that she sort of threatened to kill Dark's daughter. Um, I was kind of like, well, I don't really think she's going to do it, but obviously Dark is the sort of person who would believe that someone would do it because he obviously believes the worst in people. And Thea, having done more than a little bit of stuff that is not so great, I think he would take that threat more seriously than if Oliver tried to do it. He even mocked Oliver's desire to not kill. So it does kind of say something about Thea's situation that Dark really did genuinely believe that she would kill her daughter, and he would, she would kill his daughter, I should say. And I guess that in a way, I suppose, might factor in a little bit more as to why Thea actually said, like, you know what, I threatened a life with a little girl. Maybe I do need some time off. So I guess now that I think about it a little bit more, kind of Damien Dark buying into that, oh wow, I really think this person will kill my daughter, that probably does say something about just how messed up Thea was, or at least in his perception. And while Dark is a bad guy, well, this also comes on the heel of Thea pointing a gun at her brother. Again, right after, because she was brainwashed by evil dad, but still, Thea taking some time off to kind of figure stuff out. Yeah, I can make sense about that. Also, I really love that bit where Oliver busts in through the window and Damien Dark is like, "Look, I know you don't live here anymore, but those are nice windows. Did you really have to do that?" It's just like, God, jeez. Let's see what else. Oh, the whole thing with the missiles and the 27 minutes. Yeah, pretty sure that pulling all of that off within that time frame seems pretty unrealistic. Never mind Oliver just shouting once or twice at a crowd of people in the middle of a riot and then everybody stopping to listen to him. And then never mind the idea of, I'm pretty sure detonating 15,000 nuclear missiles in Earth's atmosphere would have some really, really bad effects on things. And also, I guess nuclear disarmament is no longer an issue, maybe. If it wasn't before, people are probably going to be like, yeah, let's get rid of all the effing nuclear missiles now. Or maybe not. I mean, it's not like no matter what they did, North Korea would be like, oh, we are so getting ourselves a couple of nuclear missiles. And then I guess that would start the whole process back over again. But all right, whatevs. And I guess I kind of felt that speech that Felicity gives kind of towards the end of to Oliver about how the schism within him, the person that wants to do good and all the darkness within him. I mean, yeah, they kind of needed to get the title in there somewhere, but it kind of felt like that wasn't really the strongest aspect of this particular episode. But one thing I did like was that while Oliver and Felicity are together at the end of the episode, they're not together together. And I'm sure that'll be brought back. It's just, it does make sense that it's not a sort of kind of thing. It's something those two are going to have to work at. But they're in a place where if that's what they decide they want, then they would be in a good position to go forward and have it built on a more firm foundation. And I think that covers everything that I had to say about this episode, except for one thing. Why does the show never explain what happened to Dark's daughter? They just sort of like left her underground there, and did she not have any particular reaction to watching her father murder a whole bunch of Argus agents? I mean, she doesn't really seem to know that he's evil. Okay, guys, season 4 had its ups and downs, but it ended pretty satisfying. The idea that they're going to be doing the whole Oliver Queen as mayor thing in season 5, that promises to be really cool. And I'll see you for the season 5 reviews. Until next time, take care and have a good one. Also, please join me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi and on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer.